All right, everybody, welcome back again to the KSR YouTube channel. And it's kind of a rainy, cold day at the shop. I've got to get that weather update in there. And I appreciate all you guys following along. Obviously, by the thumbnail, you saw this is another Cutlass video. So yeah, we are going to be working on the Cutlass some more today. And I'm going to show you guys, before we get into the work, I'm going to show you guys what all I'm going to be putting into the car, bar-wise, to make it legal for the chassis spec. So I've got that book in my office. We'll get in there and check it out. But if you're not a subscriber and you like seeing some fabrication videos, we're building a stock suspension G-body drag and drive car that is Oldsmobile powered, will be controlled by Holley EFI fuel injection, and it's going to have a small block Oldsmobile turbocharged engine. Yeah, so if you think you like that, subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you after the intro. All right, so we're going to call this video laying the foundation for the roll cage, because hopefully today that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the beginning bars of the roll cage slash chassis installed into the frame of the car. So the first thing we've got here is the official SFI spec book for the 25.3 chassis cert. So you can see all of this description. Full body car with aftermarket body shell, OEM body shell and OEM frame with OEM or modified floor pan and firewall, or unibody, blah, 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 blah. 650 to 749 at 3,600 pounds maximum. Now, one thing I'll go ahead and explain it now. This chassis cert see how this is up to 3,600 pounds. There is another chassis cert that's 25.2 spec. I don't know where the numbers come from. That's just the numbers they picked. So we're just gonna say 25.3. So when you hear me say 25.3, 25.2, 25.5, blah, 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 those are all different chassis specs. So I'm building my car to be 25.3, but it will also dual certify to a 25.2. 25.2, which if we look, I have all of the different spec books. 25.2 is legal to 6.0, which I don't know why they put a high side cap on it. 6.0 to 749. Like if we went slower than that, the car wouldn't be legal. I don't get the wording, but anyways. But up to 3,200 pounds maximum. So the way that a lot of the bars are done between the two specs are similar. They're actually oversized for the 25.2 spec to meet the 25.3 spec. So when I build it to 25.3, and if the car ends up lighter than 200 pounds, then I can dual cert it to 25.2. And then I've got all of my ET covered. I don't expect to ever go faster than 6.0 in that car. I mean, even 6s is kind of a long shot goal for the car, at least with the Oldsmobile engine in it. I know that sounds silly. I've put a lot of money into the engine. There's going to be a lot of time and effort into the chassis. Well, it's got to come out and go at least as fast as Soccer Mom does, right? So the issue we have with Soccer Mom is 25.5 spec, and it is not legal to go faster than 750. So this is kind of, you know, basically one of these versions is what you're going to see under the car. And this bar, you can see it's labeled number 1. That's the bar we're looking at starting with today, and possibly adding these bars here, which are the 2A and 2... No, they're both called 2A. Okay. 2B, I don't remember which one 2B is, but anyways. That's what we're looking at doing today. We'll see. You see how we've got a legend here. I don't know why the camera is going crooked. There we go. So the legend for the different colors, the red bars got to be 1 5/8 083 on the minimum. Yellow is 1 1/2 065. I've got all that here. And then we are going to, I think this page is, no, that's just another, that's got 1 5/8 in their frame rails. So I need to look at the different notes. See how, oh, I see what it is. The frame rails interrupt the number 1 bar. So multi-piece rear cross member. We're not doing that. We're doing a solid piece. So that doesn't matter. But that's kind of some of the stuff that has to be in the roof of the car. Let me see if I can get flipped back to some of these other rules here. So basically here's the middle section. And yeah, it gets a little busy. There's lots of different ways to go about that. See, there's some different options for the back bars. Some of that has to do with where the funny car cage ends up in relation to the main hoop. So if you see, this funny car cage is kind of split behind basically the driver's seating position. My car should, so driver's entire helmet is forward of the main hoop. Based on the location, I'm putting my main hoop, which we are going to measure, and I'll show you some of that here in a second. We're going to measure that and kind of get an idea of where the main hoop is going to be, because the main hoop is going to land on the number 1 bar. And then we're kind of going to be building first the underfloor stuff, and then we'll put the body down on it and get some measurements for the basic frame of the main hoop, and the roof bars and the A-pillar and all the dash bar and all that stuff, and how we're going to tie it to the body, incorporate some other things that I think are kind of trick, which they're in my head now. We'll see if I can make them happen as the design of the cage kind of progresses forward. So little something for you guys to look forward to there. Yeah, that math kind of works. So anyways, let's go out to the car and we will look at some different things on it, and then get to a time lapse where I'm going to be measuring, bending, cutting. Well, let's see, measuring, then cutting some bar, then bending some bar, and then welding that bar in, or at least tack welding it in, because I'll show you that later. Yeah, let's get to work. All right, well, we are out here at the car, and I need to figure out where the number 1 bar is going to come across the frame down here. The idea is to have it located kind of on this bottom section here, so it'll get welded to there as well as up around completely. We're going to cut the top of this out where the bar goes, and it's probably going to be back here a little ways. But I don't have, I know I want the main hoop to be in line with this, that's where I'd done it before, in line with this bar here, or that, it's not a bar, but that part of the car. But I cut out the body mounts. So what we are going to do is measure from that body mount to the tub, and then from the tub forward to that piece there, and then we have the body mount on the frame there. We'll measure forward to where it ends up, put a mark, and then get to fabricating. Yep, so let's do some measuring. Alright, let's see what we've got. Yo. 36, dead on the money. That's convenient. And 12. Wow, I can even do that math in my head. So 48 inches forward from the body mount. Let's see if we can get this out where I... Yeah. Put that about in the center. .48 inches forward is basically right there. All right. That actually works out pretty well because that area is flat right there. So, I'm gonna fire up the plasma, or I might just do it. No, I'm gonna fire up the plasma. So I'm gonna come in here and cut out some frame, come back over, and eventually I will box it back in around it with some, I'll box it back in with some metal or something. Even though I don't really need to. The factory frame is not doing much in these cars really when you 25 anything them. I guess a 25.5 you probably are still using a lot of the frame as a factory support or a support for the driveline. But with this thing, 25.3, the suspension points all being tied to the roll cage, the factory frame is along for the ride. So we're gonna remove as much of it as we can, but still meet the rules so that we can be as light as possible, because this old factory frame is heavy. In multiple places, it's multiple layers thick. 2, sometimes 3 layers thick, and it's all, 100,000th or so steel. So we're gonna try and make this thing lighter. But I'm gonna get to work and give you guys a time lapse to watch. So here we go. Well, it's dark outside. It's still raining. But we've got some more bars in the Cutlass frame. So, we didn't show it in the time lapse, but there was a spot where I hit a wall about the rear cross member. I was kind of lost in doing some measurements of how low I thought I needed to drop it to clear the drive shaft when the drive shaft, you know, gets hanging way down with the extension of the rear end. Hopefully that's low enough. I think I went about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch more. And why not just go 2 inches more? Well, then it'd be dragging the ground. So I'm trying to find that balance of keeping like 3 inches to 4 inches of ground clearance. On the street, I will probably have like a 29 to 30 inch tall tire on the car. So that'll raise the back up, get it off the ground a little bit. But on the track, I will only have a 275 drag radial, which is 27.8 inches tall or something like that. So a little difference in the ride height, but check that out. We've got the number 1 bar and the 2 A bars. So yeah, I went ahead and did these in 1 5/8. I did the math on what those would be weight wise. 1.5 or 1.5 065 is the required minimum, but it was literally 1.1 pounds different total. So the 1.5 083 was 1.1 pound per feet, and the 1.5 065 was like 0.9967 something. So did the math on how long those were, and that just gives me a little more meat through the middle of the car. That's really low weight, so that, you know, 1 1/4 pounds or whatever the actual math was, I'm okay with. So you can kind of see how I notched the frame out, and that's going to get done up here as well. So that silver mark is where the A-pillar bar should come down. So I'm going to do the same thing where I notch it out and probably notch out the whole top of the frame. Because why do we need that? That's not required for anything. So yeah, that's exciting stuff. I'm excited. So the next thing I'll probably do is notch that out, get the outer, kind of the outrigger bar in, and then we can do the diagonals in the outer, as well as there's going to be a bar that runs front to back, 1 5/8 083. So that'll be 3 more fairly easy bars, and then this side gets 1 diagonal. That side gets a diagonal plus an under seat brace. I'll probably just put the under seat brace over here. We'll see. I've got to decide where the drive shaft loop and all that stuff is going to be, because it might just work out that I do a cross member all the way across the car for like a 1 inch. I think 1 1/4 is the under seat bar, so maybe I just do 1 1/4 from the outer rocker bar over to the middle, over to where the drive shaft loop will be, and then back over to the other side here. But we'll be chipping away more on that in the next video. So thanks again for everybody following along. It's time for me to go home and go to bed. We'll see you next time.